Welcome back to Northwest City Politics in the Know with Juanita. We're glad that you're joining us on our show again this week. We're always glad to have people like you out in our audience, people that are interested in what's happening in the cities in Northwest Community Television's viewing area. It is important for good government to have citizens following along with what's happening in the city and then sharing your ideas with your mayors and city council people. If you haven't watched our show before, each week we have somebody on from one of the 9 cities in our viewing area telling about the issues and things that are happening in our cities. Now tonight we're going to do something a little bit different because cities do a lot more cooperating with each other than they did in the past, and I think a lot of people might not be aware of all the cooperation that happens in our local area. Cities cooperate because it kind of widens the kinds of things that they can get involved in. It might save them some money. It might make a more efficient use of their resources. So there's lots of reasons why, and we thought tonight we'll look at kind of the southern part of Northwest Community Television's viewing area through the eyes of our guest, through Mayor Kathi Hemken. She's going to tell us about all the different ways that New Hope works with other cities to accomplish different ends. So we'll put all of this going, and then from time to time we're going to bring up her email and phone number. So if you've got questions, you can contact her, but we'll also put up all of the cities' websites and phone numbers too. So if your city is involved in some of these things, you could give them a call and check on what's happening. So we're very happy to have you tonight and try to look at cities from a little different angle than we often do.
Good.
And now, you've been on our show before, so you know, so I'm going to want to have you introduce yourself out to our wider audience. Tell them a little bit about your background.
My name is Kathi Hemken. I'm the mayor of New Hope. I moved into New Hope in 1976 with 2 small children. I moved here because of the school district, and I really liked the Robbinsdale schools. After I moved in, I joined the League of Women Voters. I joined the Women of Today, and then became part of the city councils, or the city planning commission. I was on the planning commission for 11 years, served 2 years at the chair. After I left that, I thought, well, there must be something else, so I ran for mayor.
And then I thought I better give you just a little bit of time to kind of promote Duck Duck Days, because that's going to be coming up shortly.
Well, it is. It's the 17th through the 19th of July. It'll be at Northwood Park, which is about on 38th and Boone. Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. On Friday and Saturday night, there'll be fireworks. Saturday morning will be a kiddie parade. And so there'll be games for the kids. There'll be bouncy houses and rides for the kids, and of course the pizza eating contest, and just a lot. This year they're having a craft fair also.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
The hours on Friday will be like 5 to 10.
Okay.
And then Saturday the kiddie parade's at 10 o'clock, and it'll go till 10 o'clock at night. And then Sunday starts at about noon and will last till about 3 or 4.
Yeah, because all of our cities have some kind of special event during the summer, and people, I think a lot of people enjoy going to more than one. Mm-hmm. So we'll invite people to come to New Hope.
We would love to have them in New Hope.
Now, another completely different way of cooperating, right, is that there's a program, and I can't remember the acronym of the group that sponsors it, but it's called Open to Business.
Yes.
And it's one that New Hope and
Golden Valley
have got involved in, and I think some of the, I think Brooklyn Park, Brooklyn Center also do it, but separate group.
Yes.
But New Hope and Golden Valley are working together.
We went with Golden Valley on this one because the cost to hire this person was $5,000, so we decided to split the cost. He spends a couple of days a month in New Hope and a couple of days a month in Golden Valley. This Open to Business is for somebody that wants to get their business started. What they'll do is, his name is Rob, and you'll have his number on your screen. Rob will meet with them, look at their business plan and say, this is a great idea, let's work on this. Or, I think this needs a little more work. If he honestly believes he can help you get the business started, he might direct you where you can get financing. There's a little bit of financing available, but it's really a stopgap. It's really if it's very, very necessary. And then you can, and if you have a business, And this can be a home business.
Okay.
This can be selling Tupperware out of your home. Or it could be a bigger business like a restaurant. He wants you to open for business. And he'll help you wherever he can so that you can get your business open. Sometimes it's somebody's got a home business and they want to move to a facility.
Right.
And there's a lot of things involved with that, things you might not think about, like sewer access charges that can get very expensive. So he's there to help somebody expand their business if he can, or guide them in a different direction.
Well, and then also to help people right from the beginning figure out what it is they need to know, what resources they need to check into.
Totally free of charge to the person. They're part of, and I wrote this down, the Metro Consortium of Community Developers.
Okay, that's
and
the acronym I couldn't remember.
Open to Business is part of that. This Rob handles all of the businesses that come in with confidentiality. He will not share that information with anybody. You can feel very confident if you go to him. Unless you tell him to share, he will not.
Well, and we've had him on our show, and he has a wealth of information and knowledge that can help people that are entrepreneurial, right? And all of our cities, you know, need to encourage and help businesses grow.
They do, they do. This program is open, at least in New Hope and Golden Valley. It's just open to New Hope and Golden Valley residents. But if you are in, say you're in one of those cities and you want to go to another city to open the business, again, call Rob. And Rob can tell you how, if you want to open that business in, say, Crystal. Rob can tell you how to get a hold of somebody, or maybe he's the somebody in Crystal that can help you do that.
Yeah, we'll put that resource up because I'm sure there's people in our audience that, you know, have glimmers of ideas but need direction, need guidance.
Absolutely. And he's just fun to talk to.
Yeah. And so it's a different way of cooperating as cities.
Yes.
You're cooperating partly to bring the cost down, but then to give an opportunity to the people that live in your area.
Well, whenever you can collaborate with another city, another group, I think you bring more people into the picture, but you also bring more expertise in. We can get more done, and really, when you're talking about the 4 cities and 80,000 people, that's a much stronger voice.
Definitely.
Than Little New Hope's 20,000.
All right, another area where cities have joined together is some human rights commissions. Now, what cities
this is kind of a fun thing that happened. All of the cities have human rights commissions, and their job is to look at, to make sure that people are treated fairly in their cities. And of course, we all have the same issues, but we have different issues. And typically, our human rights commissions were functioning separately. And a few years ago, Golden Valley got rid of their Human Rights Commission, and then they started to back up. Well, somebody in this group, and I don't remember who exactly had this idea, they wanted to do a program on genocide. And they had found a wonderful speaker, and so they called one of the other Human Rights Commissions. And so now there were 2 of them. And then they said, well, gee, we ought to take... So all of a sudden, the 4 Human Rights Commissions are working together to put on this very, very well-run program.
In which cities?
Crystal, New Hope, Robbinsdale, and Golden Valley. We do a lot of we call them the Quad Cities. We do a lot of that. Because the 3, Crystal, New Hope, and Robbinsdale go up this way.
Your
and
borders
Golden Valley says he holds us all up. But I don't know, we push him down maybe. But so this was just a nice collaboration. Of course, Human Rights Commissions don't get paid, so you're not saving money. But what you're doing is now your audience is 80,000. It's easier to draw people from that large audience, and you know, we all have the same situations. So I thought that was just a wonderful collaboration. I understand they're going to do something with what is it? It's called SHIP. It's the Health Improvement Program.
Oh, right.
And the State Health Improvement Program. And I was at a meeting with them today, and they were talking. I told them about the Human Rights Commission. They were so excited to work with them. So if we can hook them up with Hennepin County somehow to do just programs on, food's a problem.
Oh, right.
And getting food is a problem to people, and there's a lot of food insecurity.
Oh,
and
right.
I look at that as a human rights issue, as well as just an issue with jobs and food. And so I think that's a good collaboration if we can do that. So what we're doing, we're trying to do as much education of the community as we can. Not only educating them on what human rights mean, but educating them on things like, like genocide.
Right.
The New Hope Human Rights Commission put on a couple Know Your Neighbor events.
Oh,
in which they invited the public to come in and learn about the Somali community. What are their traditions? What kind of things do they eat? What do they want to do? What do they like to do? And everyone left there going, oh, they want the same thing I want.
Yeah.
Hello. Yes, they do. So anyway, we thought that was a very good event, and we're really hoping that they will collaborate on more things together, because they seem to work. It's not the whole human rights commissions, by the way, which sometimes when the group gets too big, nothing happens.
That's true.
So what happened was we sent 2 people from each of the 4. So these 8 people, like this inner circle, had the idea, started doing the planning. They went back to their own human rights commissions, and each took a piece of the program. Where would we have it? How are you going to get the chairs there? Who's going to do the printing for the advertising? And then the 8 would come back together again and make some more plans, and then go back to their own. So, very successful endeavor.
And this is probably the newest cooperative thing that the cities have got into, right?
That was about 2 months ago.
Now, another program that's in our communities that ended up to be a cooperative program is the CERT program, the Certified Emergency Response Team.
Yep.
And maybe you can tell people first what it is, and then what city New Hope
how we got there.
Right.
In 2008, the cities of New Hope and Crystal, because our police departments do a lot of things together, so the 2 cities got together, and CERTS it started out in Hugo, actually. And what happened is a tornado went through Hugo, and they found they had little groups of citizens that were dealing with their neighborhoods. And so it became very obvious to us we need to train people to do that. So the original training was, I'll train you how to help somebody if they're trapped under, or how to get some help for somebody. And so train the person, then train your neighbors. And then when we need you, we don't have a lot of disasters in New Hope.
Luckily.
So then we branch out a little bit and said, well, we could use you at Duck Duck Days. Just kind of policing things, making sure everything's working well. We can use you when there's an accident. Sometimes we call the reserve, sometimes we call the CERTS team. The CERTS team does not do medical stuff. They may say, oh, I think you have a broken arm. Don't move, I'll get somebody to help you. But they're not setting that broken arm. So these aren't paramedics. They're simply the eyes and ears of the community out there to help the police and to help the fire department and to help our reserve, our police reserve, because they've all been trained to do that. So currently we have. Oh, I asked about putting up a number to get more, and they said, "Oh, not right now. We're full right now." But that would be, that when we need more, we'll put up something that says we need more. How that happens is we go out looking for CERTS volunteers. And there are volunteers. And citizens apply. We do a little bit of interview with them, because this is not a job for everybody. I mean, some people, it's physical. And so you have to be kind of careful who you're pulling in. And then we train them. We train them very well.
So they get a lot of training.
They get a lot of training. They get a big bag, and in that big bag is like a little bit of rope, a flashlight, bandages, things that they would need, a reflective vest, a hard hat, things that they would need in the event if a tornado came through. you need somebody that's blocking off the street down here because a tree fell and the wires are laying there. That's where the search team would come in. So we don't have, because we don't have a lot of disasters, we wanted to keep this search team active and busy doing other things. So we're using them for other things where we need them. They show up at our safety camp to help train the little kids. So just places that they're needed, and they're volunteers, so we don't want to overuse them, but we also don't want them to get bored and leave us. It's just a wonderful, wonderful program. How it got started is Eric Lamley on our city council wrote a grant that he heard about, and we got that grant money, and we were able to get the first search team going, and then there was another grant, and we got that second team going, but now no third grant. So we're kind of out of money. We're kind of trying to figure out how we're going to operate this without that extra money coming in, and does it make sense for the city to operate it? I think it does, which means, of course, it costs money. So one of the other things I just heard is our search team is also training with the Plymouth search team now. And the reason we do that is 169 runs right through us. And there are incidences on 169.
Definitely.
And to have the two search teams that are understanding what to do, nothing's worse than having a bunch of people that don't have a clue what to do. And who to report to and how to do that. And so by training the two groups together, it just makes more sense that we know what they're doing, they know what we're doing, we can operate as a team, a bigger team. I'm sure that Plymouth will run their own CERT team like we run ours, but I like the idea that they're training
But they
together.
Still can
I like that idea.
Support and build with each other together.
The guy's name is Sean Watson, and Sean, I can give you the phone number, but please don't call because we just don't have the
well,
number
not right now, but if somebody thinks this is an interesting sounding thing they'd like to be involved in, they could watch their city's websites and watch the Sun Post, because that's where it would come up when you're needing to add. So I'm sure volunteers come, they ebb and flow, and depending on their lifestyle, but it's another very good place for people to volunteer.
We always need volunteers. And I think you have to be over 18?
I think so, if I remember right, from doing a program.
Excuse me. So over 18 and probably under 90.
And then if it's your interest, then you can get a lot of training in how to handle emergencies. Well, and with all the trains coming and going,
pretty scary.
Hopefully we don't have an emergency like that, but it would definitely be the kind that where you'd need extra people to help manage the situation. And
absolutely.
Now, you are part of you are the president of the North Metro Mayors Association, which is another way where cities are working together. Maybe you can tell us about that group.
That's an amazing group. It's about 20 area cities and 50 community partners and businesses. The cities are like New Brighton, Osseo, Ramsey, Circle Pine. It's all the North Metro Mayors. It started out as a lobbying group that all these cities, again, when you band together, you're a much stronger lobby. It's still a lobbying group, but we do some other things. We have community partners in which the North Metro Mayors goes to the community partner and say, okay, we got these 30 cities, 20 cities, and they're all buying paper. Can you give us a deal on that? And they do. And so once or twice a year, we get a check back from North Metro Mayors for the money that we saved on the paper that we buy through this corporate buy. They do a lot of programming. If you get involved in your city, you really don't know that 610 is a congestion problem. That's what North Metro Mayors will do. They have meetings in which they're educating their cities. And then the cities will go back to either their city managers or to their councils and explain what's happening. So that's a really good. There's a lot of networking going on, not only networking with the businesses, but with other electives. We have access to other cities' managers and city services. The reason for that is if somebody calls me in New Hope and says, what's with that train in Crystal? I can confidently call the city manager of Crystal, because I know her from the North Metro Mayors, and say, what's with the train in Crystal? And the same thing when they were, I think it was XL Energy that tore up the streets on Winnetka and 42nd. It was huge. That's a major intersection. Because we had a relationship with the company, we were able to go to them and say, we got these businesses. What can you do to help these businesses? So they found routes for people to get to these businesses some other way. They made signs that said, Country Kitchen is still open. All kinds of things like that. And that comes from North Metro mayors having that relationship with other mayors and other cities and businesses. Some of the things they're working on the whole transportation thing. Oh, important area. Well, not only light rail and bus, but just how do you get around? What's working for your city? How did you do that? LGA, which is local government aid, that's one of the things they worked on real hard so that our cities we get aid from the state. And that's what local government aid. For a while, they had eliminated that. That was a real burden to the cities. They also have something called fiscal disparity, based on the age of your houses and a whole bunch of other stuff. Some of the cities that are doing very well, say Edina. I have people living in New Hope that work in Edina. Edina's making lots of money, but New Hope is struggling. So they have this thing called fiscal disparities just because Bloomington has the Mall of America, all the people that work there don't live in Bloomington. They live in this vast area. Target is another real good example. And so they have this the fiscal disparity. We talk about economic development and trends. The current trend is not single-family homes at the moment. This is just stuff that you need to know. So when you're doing your planning, you know what's happening in Brooklyn Park. You know what's happening in Ramsey. Of course, the tax issues, they lobby for the tax issues. One of the things that came out of Metro Mayors just recently is they put this thing in that said, if you are a city, you don't pay taxes on equipment. Guess what New Hope Crystal Fire and Rescue? It's not a city. So it didn't qualify initially, here's these $1 million trucks that you're paying tax on. By the North Metro mayors going to our senators and our representatives who hadn't even thought about that. Said, what about, when Golden Valley buys their truck, they get no tax on it because the West Metro is not a city. They pay tax on that. So through that, we were able to get that tax changed. So when one of the questions was, how does it benefit all our cities? Well, our legislators also come to these meetings. So it's a chance to meet your legislators, talk about what went on at the Capitol, what you would have liked to have seen, what you saw, to thank them in many cases. It's a cost savings when we know what other cities are doing to bring businesses to their city. Definitely. The whole thing about the brew pub. We learned that through North Metro mayors. That this is kind of a trend that's coming. Watch out for it. Change your ordinances if you want to do that. So I think North Metro mayors is just fabulous. So it's definitely an expansion into lots of cities helping each other out. Yeah, absolutely. Now, an issue where there was cooperation, not in quite as organized a way as what led to West Metro or some of the others, is that there's an issue with the railroads over in Crystal. There's the Burlington Northern Santa Fe Railroad and there's the Canadian Pacific Railroad. And their tracks come close together and they wanted to make a connection so they could run more trains. They intersect. And in Crystal, Burlington Northern thought it was a great idea to put this little spur in that would put all these Canadian Pacific trains that go through Crystal and New Hope at the moment, along West Broadway. But they're on heavy-duty tracks, and they go into the yard. Well, this Burlington Northern track is very rarely used. And to put these big oil trains on this very rarely used track, which happens to go right by Courage Center, right in the backyard of Sacred Heart Church. The other thing it did... And right underneath Target Center. It was going to cut off the access of the fire department.
Right.
When you have a fire, you send out this thing, and these guys go over here and get on their trucks. Now there's a train.
Right.
And some of these oil trains are pretty big.
Right.
So Crystal, New Hope, Robbinsdale, Golden Valley, Plymouth, Minneapolis, all went to the Capitol, testified for the Senate and the House as to, you know, we're not against business, but we are against putting our citizens in danger, and this was just that. So we also got Hennepin County involved.
Right.
And Hennepin County jumped up, stepped up to the plate and bought the land. And then, and back again to the North Metro mayors, because all of these people are at these North Metro mayors meetings.
Right.
So Hennepin County buys the land. Our legislators put in an ordinance, a bill, that says you can't take land owned by
The
Hennepin
county,
County.
right.
So
Yeah, because they could have condemned the land.
they could have taken, they're the only ones that can use eminent domain.
Yeah, because railroads have a lot of power,
Yes.
don't they?
So we bought the land, put in the bill, and I think the railroad said, this is like more work than we want, and have kind of backed off. But I think this was a very important issue.
Oh,
and
right, right.
By having close contact with all of these cities, collaborating on other things, when this came up, we were able to pull these cities together almost immediately.
Yeah, and I think because of all the past contacts, right?
Yep, exactly. So we were able to identify the problem. We got the citizens involved. We got the government involved. We lobbied the legislators for help, and it just went away. It may come back. You know, we don't know.
Right.
But for the meantime, it's gone.
Right.
And we're still safe. We are looking very serious at train safety, by the way.
Oh.
It's going to be a problem, and we know it's going to be a problem. Our tracks are good and solid, but there's a lot of trains.
Oh, there are.
So we're just looking at that and making sure that our fire and rescue people are well trained, our police are, our CERTs. So we in our just so all our first responders know what to do in the event that we have an emergency.
And they've done some training specifically with railroad disaster kinds of
They
things. Well, I want to thank you so much.
Thank you.
Sharing all the things that are going on. And when I started looking at the list, I thought, wow, there's much more cooperation than I was ever aware of. Now, I'm glad that you've been watching us out there. And if you're interested in any one of these issues, you can certainly contact Mayor Hemken about it, but we'll put up the city's websites and information too, so you can contact your cities if you want to know more about any of these given issues. We're glad that you're with us, and we hope you join us next week.